Hello, Exeter, and today I have George Dufour with us.
College, so up, and then after that I bent over.
Pleasure to have you on
I was 4 years old, actually 4.5, and I don't think anybody knew it was coming. I mean, they didn't have the information that we do today.
Yeah.
But I knew there was a lot of wind outside. At that time, we were living on the corner of Sanborn and Vine Street. We had moved from Carroll Street. We had shutters, wooden shutters outside the bay windows facing Sanborn Street. And one shutter had probably broken the screws that were holding it in, and it was banging against the windows. And I remember my father walking out on the porch, headed toward that shutter. And he was a big, strong man, and he was holding on to the railing, bent over, trying to get to the shutter. I saw him doing it. It always stuck with my mind. Finally got the shutter. On the corner of Vine and Sanborn was a large maple tree, and that tree stayed there for several days at least, because it was not impeding traffic, what traffic there was, because it was leaning over and the cars would go underneath. But it was the downtown area, like where Loaf and Ladle used to be and where it's the Thirsty Moose now.
Yeah.
That was always flooded. That was always flooded, really.
Yeah.
I'm sure the water we had the first 3 weeks in July of this year would have flooded everything if the dam was still here. They would have never gone into business.
So where did you go to school in Exeter?
Went to the first 8 years was St. Michael's, which is now Main Street School. They had eight grades there. We used to walk from Sanborn Street. I started school when I was 5. I think a year early. I wish I'd stayed home for one more year. But we had to walk. Everybody had to walk to school pretty much in the compact area of Exeter. I have a cousin and other friends that lived even further down beyond on Front Street, a long ways down for a kid,
Yeah.
5, 6 years old, to walk to school. But they did. And everybody.
Yeah.
I think I took a lot of lunches to school. We didn't have cafeterias like they do today. I don't know how we got involved in that, but we always took lunches. In fact, right through the high school, we took lunches in high school. Yeah, that was, and of course, I went to school in the old Tuck High School, which was just boys, and the girls went to the Robinson Seminary, which unfortunately burned some years ago. So I assume the girls took lunches too, although they had a class in cooking, so maybe they did some cooking over there.
They got to cook
really
their
don't
lunches.
know. Yeah. Most of the older women that were there who stayed home and cooked, they were all first generation
Yeah.
immigrants. And I was in and out of their houses all over the place when I was pretty young. And there would always be cookies or whatever, you know. And,
Always something fresh out of the oven for you.
my mother, when I was about 3 years old, 2.5, 3, on Carroll Street, she actually pinned a paper on my back. Please do not feed George. because I wouldn't eat anything at home. I was one of the first sidewalk beggars. You know. Yeah, there was a lot of labor-intensive jobs.
Yeah.
Really.
Very labor-intensive jobs.
And didn't pay an awful lot. I had a friend of mine, his father came down also, and my friend Lucian said that he asked his father one time what he made for money at the brickyard. And they worked I think it was 6 days a week, and he got $9. But they raised a family, and
$9 a week?
$9 a week, that's right. Yeah, that's what it was. That's why $9 seems like minimal for us. It was wealth for them because they didn't have it. And that's why, same thing with the Polish and Lithuanians and everybody coming down. Came here for better life. And if they were making $9, $10 a week, it was more than what they were making back home.
In terms of a better life, were people actually able to have time to themselves or have a day off or get a week off?
They did. It was hard work. And the immigrants that came in this country, whether they're Irish or the French or whatever, they were subjected to the worst jobs, obviously. They were low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
Okay?
Bottom of the barrel.
That's it, boy. So they worked hard. They were the laborers on the railroad tracks, same thing in the woods, or whether it's a mill or the shoe shops. But at least they did have hard coin, and they could raise a family.
Yeah.
Holidays, did they get paid? They might have got paid, say, for one, let's say Christmas. But I don't think they got paid for 4th of July. In fact, that usually, as I recall, 4th of July time frame was when the shoe shop would close. And they would have then the maintenance people come go over all the machines, and same thing in the mill.
Yeah.
So they didn't get paid much for, if there was sick leave, I can't believe there was sick leave in those days. At one time there were 2 First Nationals downtown and 1 at the West End. So when I was 14, I think, I would go in and do whatever, whether it was stock shelves, sweep the floors, carry out bundles, whatever had to be done, you know.
Yeah.
They had 2 clerks full-time. Before that, 12 or 13, I was out mowing lawns, the old push mower with the real types. And in the winter, I shoveled a lot of snow. 50 cents for a driveway, 16 cents to go to the Ioka movies. Almost all candy was a nickel. Of course, you couldn't get it during the war, but it was nickel a box for candy.
Yeah.
Ice creams, probably a dime for ice cream. So what I'm laying out for you is if you want to take that $50 and spend it as a kid kind of thinks about, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah.
I used to get my money Saturday mornings. I was up pretty early for Saturday. Most of the people got paid Friday nights. And the people who drank a lot used to party out like on the railroad tracks or near the tracks back of the shoe shop on Charter Street. And I would zip down there Saturday morning because most of the beer bottles were returnable. The stubbies were 2 cents and the quarts were a nickel. And Mr. Zeltzer, his wife and daughter also worked at the store. Well, I never forgot Natalie's name, I'll tell you that. She was mid-teens, probably, 15, let's call it. And I was whatever, 11, 12, somewhere in there. But she never wanted to give you the actual 2 cents or nickel for the returnable beer bottles. She wanted you to buy something. Well, I wanted to get the money so I could go to the movies. We used to try to sit upstairs. There was a balcony at the Ioka, and that was always the best place to go. Because, I don't know, you were out of the way of the ushers. Get away from them, because they were strict, you know. Walk down with the little flashlights, be quiet, no cheering, no, be careful, put your feet down. So that's what we used to do. And the seminary that I talked about before, that was a high building. That was, I wish I knew how high the tower was. During the war, they used it as a lookout for foreign planes. Well, of course, there were no planes coming from Japan, that's for sure. And I doubt very much if any were going to coming from Germany. It was too far. But they maintained that illusion that we have to watch out for planes. Well, a neighbor of mine was a member of the, I guess, wardens or the lookouts. And he asked me one day, I was about 10, he said, "You want to go up to seminary tonight?" I said, "Yeah, watches." So that was the first time I went in the seminary, and that's the last. We went way up in this tower, and you could see all over Exeter.
Now, people kind of associate the 1960s normally with like rock and roll and the summer of love. What was it like here at that time for that?
There was no miniature Woodstock here, I'll put it that way. I never saw that here. I think the kids, I liked rock and roll myself. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I listen now to rock and roll classic radio station.
And you were a police officer at the time, too.
At that time, I got out of the Army in 55, 56, I guess, somewhere in there. And yeah, there was no problems that I remember, but of course, music taste changed, obviously.
Yeah.
We had no drugs that I know of. Now, saying that, did somebody go to Boston and pick up some marijuana? Probably did. I really don't know. But there was no drug problem per se. I never bumped into one. I wouldn't know what it looked like, to tell you the truth. Really, I wouldn't have no idea.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have that. But there was drinking. There was quite a bit of drinking there. There was quite a bit of domestic problem because of it.
Yeah.
But there weren't many places to drink. It's not like today.
Yeah.
Exeter was, I won't say it was a dry community like Hampton or Hampton Beach. That was really strictly dry. But there were, other than social clubs that we just talked about a minute ago, like say the Elks, or the Legion, Knights of Columbus, though I'm sure the Masons, they had, I'm sure, liquor for their people who attended the meetings and social events. But for the man on the street, first place that I remember sold beer to a food customer was when Jack Walsh opened up a little restaurant, no bigger than that, little bulb like that. No writing on the sides, no nothing. The cheapest possible way they could buy a vehicle. When I started, I think it was 56, there were 2 police cars, both of them station wagons.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, they did have 2-way radios. They also had station wagons because the back seats would fold down. And we carried a, what I call an army stretcher that folds up, and that was always in the back of each cruiser. There was no ambulance in Exeter. Carl Brewitt of Brewitt Funeral Home used to allow his hearse to respond to some calls, especially outside the area of Exeter. They used to go when they weren't busy, when they weren't using the hearse, you know, at funerals and stuff. So the police cars were the ambulance. That was it. I've been at accidents where someone was hurt. I'd pull out the stretcher. There was always cars stopped at an accident, right? I mean, that's a given. And I would grab 2 or 3 guys, and we would take out a person, lay him in that stretcher, and put him back in the cruiser. And I would take the person to the hospital. Because there was no other cruiser, nobody else working. I was the only one working. So there's nobody now at the accident scene, right? Not officially. So after dropping the patient off at the hospital, I'd drive the cruiser back, whether it was Hampton Road or Epping Road or in between. And then see what was going on, call a wrecker, and take the car out of there, make measurements, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, very, very few friends left.
Yeah.
Some have moved, you know, have moved away permanently, but I mean, people that Judy and I would, you know, go dancing with, do other social things with, different guys I used to play baseball with years back, and see, basically they're all gone. Mm-hmm. My mother, who lived almost to 99, said the same thing. She said, I almost don't really know anyone. You know,
Yeah.
all her family was gone, and her friends were all passed away. So there is a downer, I think, in that regard. But I like the town. There's plenty of services compared to what it used to be. These people that are newly situated here in town from other states, many from Massachusetts, they've got, I think, the best of it now. We never really had recreation park years ago. You know, we never really had a first-class ambulance service. Those, you know, the police now have to go to school. There was no schooling before.
Yeah.
The jobs that people had in those days were labor-intensive. I think today you don't see that as much.
Yeah.
Everybody has a lot of equipment to help out do the job, whether it's landscapers, garage mechanics, everything is different, you know. The computers have made a big difference in work. It's altogether just different. If somebody came back from, say, a 60-year coma, they would probably like the town. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
they're used to what it was before, that's what they came, and this is not the same town.
Yeah.
Not the same. I think I'm the last one that was working on the force when Hunt and Bertrand had the UFO incident that, you know,
Yeah.
caused all kinds of furor. I was glad I had the night off, by the way. Anyway, yeah, they're all passed away.
Yeah.
Well, I will stay. I was born here, and I guess that's where I'm going to die. Got the family plot.
Family plot.
Yep, that's all set to go.
And you heard it, Exeter. If you would like to be in the spotlight, you can contact us at extvg@exeternh.gov. Thank you, and have a great day.